In Turf Wars, Joanne claims her interest in the trans issue is intensely personal, and she has 2 reasons why it's personal. The first is she thinks that if she had been a child today, she would have been transed. Someone would have transed her. You know, people are being transed left and right these days. It's a reasonable thing to be concerned about. Trans people, we're always on the lookout for the next person we can trans. That's all we want to do. Is trans people. I transed 4 people this morning for a breakfast. She thinks.
I mean, that conservatively 4 people, I would argue. I mean, in all honesty.
Well,
I'd lean more towards maybe 4,000 people.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you know, whatever. I watched a talk with Jesse Singal recently, and I guess he wrote some article on this. And man, it's so funny because like Jesse Singal argued against James Lindsay about the MAGA thing, and that just convinced me Jesse Singal, he's woke. He's totally woke. He's one of these progressive wokesters. But his position on trans is it's impossible to argue that fucking 15-year-old kids are not influenced by what other people are doing. Which you have to make that argument here if you're gonna make the argument that people aren't getting transed, as she's calling it.
Well, I don't think Jesse is woke. I don't think that's fair to categorize him as that, because he does care about other issues.
Right.
About free speech and cancel culture.
I bring it up because
stuff.
I think I could be incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely liberal, but he's more like, he definitely sees the dangers of the Wokistan narrative, especially in terms of gender dysphoria.
Is Contrapoints arguing that 15-year-old kids are not influenced by what other people are doing? Like, well, that's the argument that you literally have to make.
Right. Well, no, she's doing this. Yeah, that is what she's doing. She's making an incredibly bullshit strawman argument of a real concern.
Yes.
Which is that J.K. Rowling says this, and many people have said this, which is that when she was very young, she had a lot of anxiety. She had OCD. She had depression. And she had a lot of trouble, you know, going through puberty and dealing with societal pressures of what it meant to be a woman. I think J.K. Rowling talked about her father wanted her to be a boy and all sorts of other crazy shit.
Oh my goodness.
Like really deep, like fucked up psychological issues. And a lot of girls go through these issues. And J.K. Rowling's position is, if I grew up today, I would be confused by a lot of the talk around transgender issues, and it would be very easy for me to be confused by them and to think that I'm actually trans, and that's the explanation for why I feel the way I do. And then, hey, look, it's like in Irreversible Damage. I start taking testosterone. Testosterone naturally makes you feel better about yourself.
Sorry, ladies, we got the better hormone. I'm just like, yes.
But, and then, so then that confirms your belief that, oh shit, I must be trans because as soon as I start taking testosterone, I feel better.
Yeah.
And then she goes down the track of transitioning, and then maybe at some later point in her life, she realizes I've made a huge mistake.
Error.
And so
yes,
it's true. That is a very personal reason. And that is probably the reason why J.K. Rowling was able to shake off the woke glasses for a second and view this, you know, take your head out of the matrix for a second and view this differently, because she has a personal experience that allows her to do so. But what is gross is that then Contra takes what is a valid, real concern and then totally, without like going through it in any realistic way, she just humorously dismisses it. Oh, you think there's trans people running around just transing people left and right? Like there's a magic trans fairy going, poof, you're trans, poof, you're trans. That's not happening. What a bigot.
Contrapoints cannot look at this argument clearly. This is like this argument, like she would have to do some real soul searching if she took this argument seriously. Like her whole brand she'd have to do some real soul searching. Can you imagine if there was some kind of scientific study that came out that showed, like, you know, 4,000 people were influenced into becoming trans because of Contrapoints videos and then had trans regret? Oh my God. Devastation.
Right. What's gonna yeah. And I think
I don't want that kind of responsibility. I mean, I
right.
liked when Contrapoints used to say, "Oh, don't use me as a role model. I'm a total fuck up." Like that was part of her brand.
Right.
Oh man,
But then again, there is a level that you say that as much as you like, it doesn't matter. You're
totally
still
no,
going to
and
be.
she's being tongue in cheek when she says it. She
Right.
knows, like, no, I'm
Right.
cool because I'm a fuck up. I'm fucking
Right.
punk rock. I do the same thing. Of course. Of course, people are drawn to that. That's cool.
Right.
That's renegade. That's
Rebel.
rebel. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that's anti-establishment.
Right. Fuck the system.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. As a lifelong nonconformist, I get that. But how far are you going to go? That's the whole thing about the irreversible damage. It's like they're marching these kids in and telling, oh, it's all reversible. You know, cut your tits off, you get new tits. That's what they tell them. I'm dead serious. She outlines it in the book. I watched those gender clinic videos. Fucking that's what Dr. Z will tell you. She's got a PhD, man.
Yeah.
She was in The Incredibles.
There's this great Louis Theroux documentary where he was following some kids, some trans kids, and he's in a clinic with this girl who she's basically describing what doesn't sound like someone with gender dysphoria. What sounds like a girl who's going through puberty and is growing large tits and is for the first time getting attention because of that and is uncomfortable, which is something
Right.
that girls in that situation all go through.
Oh, especially if you're a wallflower. Jeez. Oh my
Right.
God. Unwanted attention. Holy shit.
Right. And then that gets confused with gender dysphoria is
Right.
horrifying. And he asks, and Louis Theroux, who's like this, I think he's like my favorite, documentary guy. And he's not approaching this in any sort of, one way direction or the other. And yet there's a very short conversation where he has with one of the people at this clinic. And he's like, what if the person makes a mistake and they realize that they're not actually trans? And then the person, the doctor just brushes them off like, well, then they can just get, surgery later. They can just get, fake tits later.
Yeah. Of course.
It's like my jaw drops.
And
Like,
you're
what?
sterile. Like you've had a hysterectomy. Who knows what fucking shit they've had done? Yeah. No, I don't know, man. It's so crazy. I want them to debate that one thing because it's such an untenable position to take. I want debates where it's
Well, they
like,
just say it doesn't happen. That's their argument.
yeah, but there's
Trans regret isn't a thing, Adam. Okay.
no, not that, because they do the untenable position is that 15-year-olds are not influenced by their friends and people in the environment. That's the untenable position.
Yeah,
I want
the
them to
side that
debate
believes
that.
everything is social is making the argument.
I
against
know.
social
It's
contagion.
exactly. It's completely off brand for them. It's completely against everything that they're talking about. Like they're basically making a biological determinist argument. You have to. If you want to make the argument that 15-year-olds who are the most who is more influenced by their friends than 15-year-olds? There's 75 years of psychology research on this. Like, that's why I want them to have this debate. I want them to have the debate. Okay, so basically you're saying 15-year-olds are not influenced by their friends or their environment or social trends or any of that stuff. That's the argument. I want to see that debate because it's like it'll be a slaughter. It's a fucking slaughter. You cannot make that argument.
Yeah, well, they can't make that argument because that's their entire position. Oh, we just need to. So Contra even said earlier, "Oh, people are taught bigotry, right?"
Yeah.
That point. So yeah, that's their entire position.
So true. So true. Yeah. So if people are taught bigotry, they can't be taught to be trans. Oh no, of course not. Yeah, it's so bad. So bad.
Thinks that she would have been recruited by the transsexual empire and forced to take hormones by the dark cabal of endocrine.
She's not engaging the argument at all. This is all just, let's just fucking brush this under the rug. Whoa, let's just this is the comedy part of the video, guys. God, so many of these people are all, you can see them in the comment section too, all just like, of course, this is not, we're not being influenced by our friends. Of course not. What are you talking about? It's coming from us inside. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Orion the Above Average for $5 says, Adam should steal some ideas from Contrapoints. I want bath time with Adam. 18 keeps it clean.
Bath time with Adam. Come on.
Yeah.
I went crazy in Social Justice Detective. You got me literally hitting myself in the face.
That's not sexy.
Oh, you want the sexy stuff, huh?
That's what they want. They want to see some. They want to see those red shorts in action. Okay.
I honestly think I do look. I mean, I think I look pretty sexy in Social Justice Detective. I mean, I got braces on. That's kind of fucked up, but I mean, aside from that, I mean, you perverts probably like the braces.
Gives you a young boyish quality.
I know. I was just thinking.
Yes.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to bring. I didn't want to bring up the term. No.
In support of this speculation, Joanne rehashes a bunch of transphobic tropes about social contagion, and to quote
4,400.
See, this is another thing. Social contagion exists outside of the whole trans debate.
Yep.
Like, one of the biggest evidences for social contagion is people commit suicide.
Well,
explain that.
Right. People watch the suicide Netflix
the suicide show caused a spike in suicides,
right.
And they took it off the air.
There was this interesting. I think it was Michael Tracy was talking to some girl. I think she started transition and stopped, and she was talking about how she spent a lot of time in high school on what's it called? What's that? On Tumblr.
Yeah, Tumblr.
And that there are all these Tumblrs about like girls cutting themselves and uploading the pictures.
Yeah, cutting. There you go.
Yeah,
that's not personally damaging. But
we don't even have to take it there, because this is the fucking side of the argument that makes the case that racism is a social contagion. Right?
Oh, true. Yes.
Oppression is a social contagion. All these things are patriarchy. All these things are social contagions. But for some reason, magically, the one thing that they want is not.
Yeah. I got news for you, Sitch. Social contagion is very, very real.
Of course it's real.
Yeah. Yes. It happens all the time about all kinds of things. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
Humans are social animals, and everyone wants. We've fucking learned about this shit. I don't know about you because you're an old man, and I don't know about the chat because they're all young people. But me, as the millennial boomer that I am, I had to go through the fucking DARE program growing up, and everything in the DARE program was
Dads Against Real Entertainment.
Yes, no, the drug thing. It was all like, oh, people are going to pressure
Mad
you.
was Moms Against Drunk Driving. And
yes.
DARE was Dads Against Real Entertainment.
There you go. But it was all, the argument that they kept making to us in DARE was, you shouldn't do drugs, and people are going to pressure you to do drugs, because when you do the drug, they feel better about themselves.
Yes.
People feel better about themselves when everyone is doing the same thing they do. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
I had that idea drilled into my skull from the anti-drug people for 10 years.
Totally. Did it work?
First of all, and it's true that is a psychological behavior. People feel better when everyone's doing it. It confirms whatever they're doing.
It's the elevator thing, dude. People fucking stand in the wrong direction if everyone's doing it.
Exactly. It's the elevator thing. And so to deny the social contagion aspect of this with just a joke, I'm not even going to address it. It was just a joke. Just is absurd.
Well, I'm super fucking triggered, disappointed right now.
Yep.
Because I always perceived of Contrapoints as a reasonable voice in this area when we were doing this video. Like, I never watched the video. I was busy working on launching the campaign and stuff. I just assumed she would have some reasonable take on this. Like, to dismiss social contagion, which is huge, valid, and something we should definitely be concerned about for all the reasons you stated, all the woke reasons you stated, like racism and all that kind of shit.
Well,
to
and
just
she
brush it
would
away. It's so awful.